back. It is Danny from the Danny.podcast. I was away last week. I apologize. I'm spreading myself a little bit too thin sometimes these days, and I just decided with my friend here from Australia, I just was going to enjoy getting out there and exploring the region and getting reacquainted with all the wineries. So I had every intention to pop on the mic. But then a few things came up. So anyway, this is my love episode, which I was only thinking about this 2 days ago. I am like, I've had a lot of people tell me a lot of things about this podcast, but people say to me often, is this more like therapy for yourself? And I could not agree more. I feel like last night I should have recorded this yesterday because I'm not sleeping right now. There's a lot that's been going on in the past 8 days, and I just need to get a few things off my chest. So it's interesting to think that season 3 has evaluated itself into the love season, and it's not intentional, I promise you. It's interesting because season 2 came across as something that was a little bit stressy about age. I don't even know why I was spiraling about turning of age. I'm literally 38 in a month and nothing is planned. I couldn't even be more unmotivated for that portion. But this is crazy. Like, we're 4 months into the new year and here's me on another episode about love, only because this is how and this is why 2025 is making this type of stuff happen. I don't even... Do you think I come into this podcasting thing with a playbook? Because I absolutely don't. But I know you're all sitting there waiting with bated breath as to why am I writing an episode based off, is this love or just a lesson? Wow, I'll tell you why. So we've all been there deep in our feels wondering if this connection is the one or just another chapter in our emotional curriculum. In a world full of almost, maybes and situationships, how do you tell the difference between real love and a lesson in disguise? Today, I'm going to be unpacking the blurred lines between healing, hope, and heartbreak. Whether you are stuck on someone you can't let go of or questioning why love feels like a test you just didn't sign up for, this will be the episode for you. It's been a whirlwind. Honestly, like I said in the last episode, I've met a guy. It's been great. It came to an end on Sunday, and it was like so unnecessary. I can't even deal. And I'm not going to pine for him. I'm not even going to chase this situation. I'm simply like, okay, handshake, goodbye. Just because I truly believe that he was a lesson from the universe. And I'll tell you why. So as I say, I had a friend over from Australia. It was really cool just catching up with her, and it started on Sunday when she landed. We went out for dinner at my favourite bar restaurant, Surreal, aka Local, in Queenstown. The menu is fire. If you ever get to go, we had the lamb shoulder with all the trimmings. It was stunning. Every excuse to drink wine and eat a roast. Yes, I'm here. Anyway, she basically said to me, when am I going to meet this bloke that you've been talking about? And so I was a little bit like, okay, the wine is hitting the sides. I'm going to text him and ask him to come to dinner on Tuesday. Totally fine. Nothing could go wrong, right? You've literally got a friend from Australia and your mum for the support. Fine. So I sent the message, I put the phone away, and we went to a margarita bar. I don't know about you guys, but I haven't been out in Queenstown for a wee while, and a couple of bars have changed the insides. You know when you've had a couple of drinks and you're currently like struggling to figure out where the hell you are? That's what was happening. It was like this dark, dingy room with cheap margaritas and a live band, and I just suddenly found myself wrapped up in this response from this bloke who I was totally excited to have dinner with. And he came back and basically said, yep, lock it in, too easy. And I was thinking, holy shit. I have never had a dinner with anyone that's keen on me. I don't even know how to act. What do I wear? It's a lot. But I wasn't overthinking it until the actual day, which was the Tuesday. Just so happened that the restaurant itself, the bar staff knew of me, and I don't know what it was, but they totally knew what was going on. They fed me up on a couple of tequila shots. There was some amazing atmosphere. I feel like everyone was watching. It was really heavy, even down to the fact that we'd come from a winery on the Monday, And I told a couple of people at this winery that this is what was happening. They were peering around the corner of the restaurant, poking in their heads, looking to see who I was sitting with. And I was like, can everyone give me a minute? I mean, honestly, if it was something that I would actually say to you guys that I'm feeling very overwhelmed with right now, it's the speed of everything. Like, I just need a minute to breathe. And I honestly thought last week having a week off the pod would help. No, this is therapy for me, and it's starting to become very obvious why. I didn't sleep last night because I needed to get this off my chest. But anyway, so we're sitting in this restaurant, me and my friend, and this bloke slides in next to me, and my friend's very excited. She's like, oh my God, he's here. It's very sweet. And then my mum slides in. She's just come from Queenstown, so she's a little bit frazzled. And we have this really great dinner. So basically it started at 6:30. We didn't get home till 10:30. If that doesn't scream to you guys how much of a like banter, fun sort of environment it was, I don't know what does. Honestly, I only said to him once, stop trying to sell yourself to my mum. Like, you don't have to put all your eggs in one basket. She thinks you're great. You're freaking me out. I'm going to go to the bathroom because I don't know what to do. When I came back, he had settled down a little bit and stopped being so, I don't know how to put it. It was quite intimidating. There was things that I didn't know about him that he was telling my mum first. And I think I was kind of a little bit shocked. It was obviously one of those, holy shit, I barely know this guy. And that's fine. It had been 3 weeks, so who cares? So we go to the end of the night, and I walked with him to his car, and we had a bit of a smooch. Everything was fine. I went to go home. We had a bit of a debrief, mum and my friend, and it was really sweet. Obviously, a lot of like support and happiness and everything else. I thought everything was fine. I was like, okay, that was like 10 out of 10. Wednesday, I dropped my friend off at the airport in the late afternoon, so I'm pretty like frazzled, quietly tired, just want to go home, have a couple of drinks, not even that, like I just wanted to go home and have a meal and go to bed. It was totally fine. However, I think he started getting a little bit needy, almost like, okay, you need to come over or just something. So obviously we met on a Thursday, so once Thursday rolled around, I knew I had a meeting on Friday morning, and it was quite important. I didn't want to turn up hungover or frazzled, stressed out, and it was raining Thursday night. So I was like, I don't want to have a couple of drinks at his house and end up running home in the rain, because I'm sick of that shit, you guys. Like, no, that's what we used to do with the stupid unavailable salmon. We're not doing this now. So I simply said, hey, look, I'm a little bit like busy, but I will absolutely catch up with you on Friday. And he was like, yep, cool, all good. That's fine. And then on Friday morning, I just basically sent him a message and said, hey, thinking of you, catch up with Savi. And he was like, yeah, I'm hungover, but I'm happy to hear from you. And I said, that's funny because you said you were having a quiet night. And he said, oh, my flatmate lost his job, so we were like having a bit of a bender. I don't know why, but I said, if you told me you were having a bender, I might have come over and joined you, just because it's difficult when you lose a job. I was going to be a support person. I know his flatmate. His flatmate's lovely. So maybe that was the trigger. I don't know. Friday afternoon, I went round to a friend's house to just sort of catch up quickly before getting ready to go to the pub. I got a message from him saying that he was at home, so I ran up to his with 2 margaritas in my hand, and I don't know what it was, you guys, but I was looking at him and he was telling this story, and I was just like, I am not attracted to this guy. I don't know what it is, but I just can't feel anything. I don't know. And it's difficult because obviously when you sort of put out into the universe or you say it out loud, like, looks aren't everything. Who cares? But there was just something about him. I was like, oh my gosh, what is it? I just can't bring myself to be attracted to this guy. I don't know what it is. I think in hindsight, the whole story about how we met, how we went into fight for me, everything to do with the excitement around meeting him and that first couple of nights was like amazing. I honestly thought this can't be this easy. I'm having the best time. But I didn't actually think about, like, do I actually find him attractive? Anyway, he was telling the story, and I started trying to add to the discussion a little bit, and he was talking over me, and I was like, knock it off. You're starting to piss me off now, and I'm only trying to, like, be friendly. And I just sort of thought, wow, I'm actually not getting a word in here. So I said to him, hey, look, I'm going to get ready and go down to the pub and see some more friends. And so I did. So he comes down to the pub about 8 p.m. and he just happened to say something really out the gate. And he says, my ex is standing at your table. And I was like, I don't even know who half these people are. Like, my table just adds many people over the course of the evening. I don't know. It's fine. To me, it's fine. Anyway, it wasn't to him. So I walked outside and I said goodbye to him because he was off to work. And I came back across the street and there was a lot of, like, whispers and weird shit. Like, his ex is not the nicest of people. She spins stories. She makes shit up. I don't even know. I already felt like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Inside, I kind of think I was a little bit spirally. So I went home and I knew that he'd be finishing his night job between like 2 and 4 a.m. So I set an alarm for 2:30 and I realized that he didn't message. So I simply turned my phone onto silent and rolled over and went to sleep. He called me probably 4 times in the night. And I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to be that person. That was a 4 a.m. booty call. It doesn't sit well with me. So especially because I thought that there was maybe something more. I don't know. So Saturday rolls around and I'm sorry, you guys, I feel like this is like dragging out, but it is telling a story, I promise. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but we are in the process of restaining our balcony deck area. So my mum's been away with her dad who's been poorly, just like I've told you guys. And it was like, I don't know, I went to do the job early because it gets hot and you can't do all those kinds of things in the heat. So I busied myself. I'm not going to lie, I was under the impression that he would just be sleeping for the day until like late afternoon. I'd catch up with him then. I wasn't thinking anything of it. Anyway, about 5 p.m. I get a message from him, hope you had a fun day. I hate those messages, you guys. I hate them. It's like, how do you even lead on from that? There's nothing substantial to it. So I just kind of brushed it off like, oh yeah, cool. I didn't say anything. I didn't reply back to it. Like, what was I supposed to say? I honestly thought there would be something more that would be like, catch up for a drink, have some dinner, like, you know, see me before I go to work. Nothing. So I went to bed early Saturday night. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I genuinely was just overwhelmed with like, it was just, you know, when you get, well, maybe you guys don't, but normally when my mum is hanging around and we've got like jobs and shit to do because we're quite busy people, once she's not here, I literally turn into like a statue and just want to sit on the couch and catch up on TV and just eat junk food and be in my own little bubble, relaxing, you know. It's so important sometimes to just stop. And I already felt like I was quite overwhelmed with like life. A lot of things have been like playing on my mind lately and it's just been difficult. So yeah, I did shut myself off a little bit, but it wasn't intentional. Anyway, Sunday comes around and I get this friend who is a friend of a friend of a friend. Not even anything like serious, like an acquaintance more or less. And they messaged and said, hey, Danny, if you ever want to have a wine and some lunch or whatever, hit me up. I'm always around. And I thought, well, that was different. It's friggin' Sunday. And I was like, why? What are you doing? And they were like, oh, we've just had an open home, but no one came. So the house is really tidy and I'm just having a wine. Do you want to come round? And no sooner had I got that message, I got a message from the bloke. And the bloke says to say, hey, this weekend's been a write-off. Don't know where you've been. I messaged you, but your lack of communication is just not something like where I'm at or whatever. I'm just going to call it now and all the best with everything. And I was like, are you joking? Like, I was thinking it in my head. Are you what? I have been busy. I'm the girl here. Like, you know, throw me a bit of breathing space. You haven't said anything that's worth me even, you know, messaging. And I can hear you guys right now, like saying to me, like, Danny, you didn't you didn't either give him any sort of plans or anything. But sometimes like it's so important just to stop on the weekends. So I'm not sad about it. But what I'm sad about is like the fact that I thought you didn't get a message from me on the Saturday, so you are ending it because of my lack of communication. I'm not needy, and that's probably a big downfall for me, is I'm way too independent to even save myself. Like, this is just who I am. I have told a lot of people I miss the social cues. I don't understand the love cues. Like, I'm like a friggin' baby giraffe. I don't know. So he said all these messages like, I feel like he was spiraling. There was multiple messages, and basically said, "You've been in contact with my flatmate more than I have." And I was like, "No, I haven't." And he goes, "Well, prove it to me." And I was like, "I'm not going to prove it to you. We're 38 years old almost, like calm down." But I was going to support your flatmate in getting back on the horse after losing his job. I didn't even tell him that. I told you that, you know. It was just really abrupt and rude and aggressive, but coming across quite needy and red flaggish. I have told a handful of friends this has happened, and they've come back with some really great advice. Obviously, we've kind of deep dove on how I could have done things differently, and more often than not, it's not actually up to me. I haven't done anything wrong. I was simply taking some time for myself, and it's ended our little thing. But I just thought, wow, not only is your ex, who 2 weeks ago, he messaged me to say, "Hey, my ex has found out about us, and just in case she meddles, just be aware, I'd hate for you to go through anything." And I responded in a constructive way, which is something I'm pretty good at. And he basically said back in a response and said, "I'm really proud of how you handled this." And I was just thinking, are you joking? Like, I couldn't care less if someone's ex is trying to meddle in their life. Like, are you going to get back with your ex, or what are you doing? Like, just don't even, I would never worry about that kind of shit. So because I told a few friends about the ex involvement and what has happened just recently, I've got a lot of advice surrounding his childish behavior. And yes, this whole thing has been like a bit of a whirlwind, quite romantic. I get it. It's been really like spontaneous. But the actual person themselves, no. So that's why I'm doing this episode today about, is this love or just a lesson? Because I was swept up, and I do believe that there was a little connection, and it might have been like a little love connection. I was bestotted by the actual whole situation, not the love that he was giving me, which I don't really know what that was. And secondly, like, I've said this a few times about people in Cromwell, and I'm not saying I kiss a lot of guys or whatever, but he was not the best kisser. And I don't know how you get past that. I just don't know. Very like saliva-ish, and I just was like, I can't teach this. I don't want to teach this. So I feel like I was kind of already finding little red flags in my brain to think, no, what are you doing? But yeah, just the childish messaging behavior. I was looking at him and I thought, I just can't get on board with this. I'm not attracted. And a few people had said, "Hey, Danny, give it a moment to grow and be something." But when you know, you know, you know? So, yeah, look, it's been really kind of weird. And have I expected him to apologize and say, "Hey, look, I was having a bad Sunday," or whatever? Maybe. Because I genuinely thought he was a little bit more mature. But then a few people have said, "Did you? Did you think he was going to be more mature?" No, I don't know. But the third and sort of final knock on the coffin was my interest in telling him my address. It was really weird, you guys. A few times he'd said he wanted to help with different things that I was having happen in the house that I wanted some advice on from a bloke, whatever. For the life of me, I could not tell him where I lived. And when he said that he wanted to come over after work, which again it's been difficult because he works nights on Fridays and Saturdays as well as a day job. So he's quite spread thin, if you know what I mean. And something about it, I just couldn't tell him my address. And I was saying to a friend yesterday over a glass of wine, I cleaned my sheets on Thursday. Do you think I wanted to mess up my bed by Friday? No. And she was like, plot twist, there it is. That's what you were pissy about. And I said, I just can't. I can't be bothered with that shit anymore. So yeah, there was just huge no-go zones in my head that was like, I just don't want this guy in my house. So all in all, the lesson has been learned, and I've had a bit of advice around the fact that the unavailable salmon has left the building in my brain completely. We're not thinking about that. Was it because of this most recent bloke? Maybe. Maybe it showed me that I am worthy of affection and love and spontaneous happiness and joy. I have kind of told a few people on my actual private social media, which to me was so different from the previous salmon situation. I kept that one quiet just for privacy, and because it was quite new for me and I didn't know what was going on and I couldn't handle my emotions to do with it. But this one I was sort of like, you know what? It's romantic. It's cute. I'm very happy. And then this happens and I'm like, oh, never mind. But I am going through all the emotions, and I'm not, sad is not one of them, which is weird. I am really surprising myself here with that. But, yeah, there's a reason for everything. You've got to trust the timing, and you've got to trust that. I feel like I shot myself in the foot a little bit. I did say to my courtesy coach driver a couple of weeks ago, salmon number one, perfect situation, like perfect in my eyes. I really enjoyed his company. I would say yes to anything he did. Like, we grew together. It was like a really emotionally exciting thing. Whereas he's just a bit not available. And the most recent guy I was not attracted to, and there was a couple of things that we just didn't agree on, and I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna be quiet. I don't enjoy being quiet just because someone else has to overpower things and speak louder. So I said to the coach driver, maybe guy number 3 is going to be it, you know? Everything that's good happens on the third go, does it not? And he said, oh my God, Danny, don't jinx it. And I said, I don't even care. Like, I'm at the age now where I'm like, I have never thought about love in my life. It's just not been something that I've been interested in. I don't like the heartache. I was only telling a couple of people that ick feeling in your stomach when shit goes wonky. I don't know how the body knows that. It's disgusting. So for me to actually be consciously doing podcast episodes based off my own experiences in the love department blows my mind. And the amount of feedback from you guys about how I'm navigating this, I'm taking it all in and I'm loving it just because I need help. Of course I have love to give. Of course I want to be loved. I just don't like this messy shit. So anyway, I'm happy to know that, you know, this is how it's happened. And I just want you guys to sort of understand that, are you growing with these people? Or are you growing through them? And that changed a lot of perspective for me. I don't see myself growing with someone or with the two people that I'm talking about. I'm definitely not growing with them. They're already doing their own things on their own paths. I'm actually growing through them and out the other side and being like, that was a lesson. And it's making me stronger as life goes on. I don't know what it is. I'm becoming really like conditioned for this shit. I don't want to be, but I feel like I'm handling it better. And Sunday is a prime example. That could have gone down the toilet, but it didn't. Anyway, I just kind of like obviously wanted to drop a few quotes in here just to have some people think about where their life lessons and love are taking them. And I truly think that some people come into your life to awaken you, not to love you. Once you've woken up, their role is done. And it's really interesting because this most recent bloke, he came into my life to wake me up from this bullshit that I was spiraling over. Did he love me? I don't know. I feel like he was like, do you know, I actually think maybe if he is telling his like circle of guy friends that he managed to be involved with me, he would be bloody proud of that, because at the end of the day, like, I was really one-sided about that salmon. But now, since I've woken up, his role's done. Like, it's almost like a refreshing perspective. His role's done, mate. We're on to the next one. We're excited. I don't know what this looks like. I feel like I need to paint my toenails. Like, I just don't even know. Oh, anyway, I wrote down some journal style reflection on this whole piece just because I wasn't going to make it sound like Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City. However, I came across a few of those episodes on Sky, on paid TV on Sunday, and I don't know, I feel like there was a reason why they came on. Anyway, this is how it goes. Okay, my journal style reflection. I had to ask myself, was I truly into him, or was I into the idea of being chosen by him? Did I want love, or did I just want to feel like I mattered to someone, even for a moment? And why was I trying so hard to hold it together when communication from him wasn't showing up fully? If you've ever had a connection that feels intense but ended before it really began, you are absolutely not alone. These are short-lived flings that teach us so much about our boundaries, our needs, and the way we love ourselves. Actually, through disappointment is totally empowering. I need everyone to know that this 3-week whirlwind, it's ended not with heartbreak, but with a big fat question mark. Turns out when you're emotionally available and there's another guy that's the needy one, without the ability to communicate or meet you halfway, it's not love. It's a lesson dressed in potential. So I want you all to think about those fast-burning flings, the red flags that we've overlooked, and why sometimes walking away is the true love story. I don't know if I walked away from the situation though, you guys. I think he pulled the pin, but I'm not chasing that pin, mate. Nah. This is going to send me to the moon, I promise you. Oh, God. Honestly, if anyone has any feedback as to how I could have handled this differently, please let me know. But I don't even think I could have changed anything. I was having the best time last week. But again, I also had some bad news, and that is I didn't get the hangover job. They're still deciding who's won the hangover job. So between this bloke pulling the pin and the hangover job falling in the toilet, and I didn't win anything on Lotto, I was like, oh my gosh, this is stupid. I hate everything. But I am very excited. It is a new week in April, and we are here to combat all the weird shit. Get ourselves back on the horse, find some love if we want to. If we don't, that's totally fine as well. But you know what? I'm going to book a trip this week. I feel like I didn't book my solo adventure because I met this bloke and I wasn't intending on it, so there was a reason behind it, but it taught me a lesson. I'm going to book something, and then we're going to talk about it next week because I'm terrified and I keep making excuses. Anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. This is my life lesson in love episode. Let's move on to something different. We're going to have a different genre next week. Travel, maybe. Just not about the shit that's happening in my life. But I am getting on with it. I promise you. All right, over and out for another week, and look after yourselves. I will be back with another spontaneous story about the Danny Dot's life in Central Otago, New Zealand. Bye for now.